In this demo, we'll walk through how Trust users can create, manage and authorise WLI shifts and timesheets. Trust users can access all WLI shifts under the WLI vacancies area. This is separate from standard vacancies, but has a familiar look and feel to keep it easy to navigate and manage. Adding a WLI vacancy. The Trust can create a new WLI vacancy entering the standard vacancy details, including the location of the shift and the required worker grade. The next step is to add the date and time for the WLI shift. The Trust can then define the WLI activity details expected to be carried out during the shift. Select an activity from the drop-down list and enter the expected number of units to be completed. Multiple activity types can be added to a single shift, allowing for flexibility in how work is structured. Once activities have been added, the Trust can choose how the shift will be paid. There are 3 possible rates of pay, including an hourly rate, in which shifts will be paid by the time taken to complete the activity, a sessional rate, in which the rate is locked for the session period, and an activity-based rate, in which shifts will be paid dependent on the number of activities completed. These rates are pre-populated based on the agreed rate card with your Trust. If needed, the Trust can easily repeat this shift and activity setup across multiple dates where the same requirements apply. Publishing shifts. These shifts are now ready to be published to the Trust's bank. They can choose to publish to all matching candidates, or if there are specific individuals in mind, they can search and select candidates to publish the shifts to directly. Once published, the Trust can monitor shift progress and candidate engagement. Managing shifts and applications. Within the vacancy, the shift board allows users to easily view each shift's pay type. A blue indicator shows whether the shift is hourly, activity-based, or sessional. Selecting View More provides a full breakdown of the rates. On the candidate board, application statuses can be tracked. A rate breakdown for each candidate is also provided here. WLI shifts can also be managed from the main shift board, where hovering over the blue icon shows the user the assigned activities and expected units for each shift. The pay rate type is also clearly displayed in the pay rate column, with the option to select View More for additional detail. Viewing and authorising WLI timesheets. Once a candidate has completed a shift, they will submit a timesheet detailing the hours worked and any activities completed. This timesheet is then routed to a first stage or final authoriser, depending on the Trust's approval process. WLI timesheets can easily be identified in the Timesheets area by the blue icon. Each timesheet clearly displays its rate type, which determines how the total payable amount is calculated. For hourly shifts, changes to the recorded times will affect the total payable. For activity-based shifts, the total is calculated based on the number of activity units submitted. For sessional shifts, the total is fixed and will not change, regardless of any edits to time or activity details. If the submitted times differ from the original booking, these changes will be highlighted, and the candidate will be required to provide a note explaining the variation. Authorisers can review both the expected activity units and the actual units completed, giving full visibility into the work undertaken. Candidates will also be required to add a note to explain any changes to the expected activity units. At this stage, the timesheet can either be authorised or disputed. If disputed, the timesheet is returned to the candidate with notes explaining what needs to be updated. If authorised, the timesheet is approved for payment and will be processed either through the Trust's own payroll system or via the Liaison Payroll Service, depending on the setup. That's how Trust users can create, manage and authorise WLI shifts and timesheets, from initial setup through to payment.